The Death of the Tomboy. This is a video by Sydney Watson. This was in my recommended. Thank you, YouTube, once again. And I don't know what this video is going to be about. I have a feeling, though. But I'll say my thoughts as I'm about to start the video. So let's get it started.
I am a man. Just trying to crack a cold one open with the boys, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what I just saw just now. And I'm not even going to question that. But we have DS quality. 1 second.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is...
I'm really questioning this video already because she said welcome to hell. I'm really questioning this video. Okay.
Now, the conversation around gender and sex and presentation has gotten a little, shall we say, complicated over the last number of years.
Oh, yeah,
so much
definitely.
so that we presently live in a time where if you're not an all-out hyper-feminine girly girl, so to speak, then people assume that you're something else. Which is obviously extremely helpful. You can probably already tell the kind of people that are gonna pop up in this video. Sorry in advance. Let's think about—
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna tell you a little story really quick. So I remember when I was in it was elementary school, right? Yeah, it was elementary school. It was elementary school and middle school. Elementary school and middle school. I was a kid, whatever, right? I used to hang out with my friends. It was mainly guys. They would we would always used to have this like fantasy of like wanting girls that were tomboys, and tomboys during that time was just girls that just like doing guy stuff. Like they like playing sports, they like playing video games. Like it was mainly video games. Like we wasn't really into sports like that, especially me. We was really into video games, comics, TV shows, things like that, right? So that's what basically like what a tomboy was, just a girl that just likes boy things, whatever, right? And basically that's what we wanted. We wanted a girl that like comic books we could relate to and things like that. And it was so rare, like you just wouldn't find it. Most girls, they were like super feminine. They were just like, into like, girly stuff, Barbie, other One Direction, things like that, right? And it was like the tomboy was like like someone we could like relate to, like, play video games with, and also we like. And also during that time, tomboys during that time, they also had their feminine, they accepted their feminine nature as well. Like they wanted to, have children, they wanted to be a mom, and they were feminine. They just like boy things, you know what I mean? Now it's more or less now we just have dykes. We have dykes, transgenders, or e-girls. E-girls are just girls that have their mangoes out on stream, and the ones that don't even have their mangoes out on stream, they're 9 times out of 10 have no personality. They're boring. I'm over here snoring on my phone or on my computer, snoring on their stream. That's literally how it goes 9 times out of 10. E-girls are weirdos. They're always doing some weird face. They always have some like, no offense to them, that's how they're born or whatever. They always have some like soft anime type voice, or like sometimes they could be acting it. They always have their mangoes popping out in my face. They're always being like weird, bro. Like, and it's just down bad. Like e-girls are just down bad most of the time. If you find most of them are attractive, and they exploit men for money most of the time. Sometimes it's unintentional because we're always gonna have simps, but like most of the time they're exploiting their audience for money. So yeah, bro, tomboys, they're dead. They don't exist anymore. Real tomboys are the e-girls now, but they're weirdos, and 9 times out of 10 you can't get with them. So the real tomboys are like almost non-existent. There's a tomboy in my class, and she's a feminine. Like she's feminine and everything. Like she likes video games, she likes boy stuff, and she's a complete straight feminine girl. Stays to her feminine roots, and it was very nice to see. It was very nice to see. And yeah, but it's a rare sight. You're not gonna see that no more. You're rather gonna see a dyke, transgender, or an e-girl that's a weirdo. So yeah.
the children of some choice celebrities just for a moment. Not like that though, that's weird. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's child, Shiloh, wanted to be called John and dressed masculine for most of her childhood, or at least what we could see of it. People assumed that the child was transgender, and lo and behold, some years later, the child's grown up, and she is a girl. She wants to be a girl. She looks like a girl. There you go. Last year, images of J-Lo's daughter began circulating where she's wearing baggy clothes, has short dyed hair, and looks pretty stereotypically boyish. People immediately made the assumption that she was either trans or non-binary, and randomly started using gender-neutral pronouns for her. And this was a full year before she decided to come out as a they-them. Because like I said, if you're not a girly girl, then you're something else entirely.
You're a weirdo.
Anyway, I've personally made my own comments about this issue over the last year or so. Last November, I tweeted a photo where I'm obviously wearing a lot of makeup and a backwards cap and essentially said, remember the time when you could be a tomboy without injecting yourself with hormones? And yeah, I mean, it obviously got the expected response. It got screenshot, posted on Reddit. I got called a transphobe. Back when I was growing up,
How is that, bro? Do people know what that word means, bro? Like, what does that mean? Like,
saw a woman or a girl dressed in the same way as Angelina Jolie or J-Lo's daughters, I'd have assumed they were either tomboys or just shirking female fashion. Today, the assumption is something else entirely, that if you aren't heavily participating in feminine female stereotypes, then you probably aren't a female. And at least in my opinion, that's a problem. Not just for society on the whole, but for the women and girls who are being conditioned.
so let me ask the people that be spamming transphobia when somebody says something that's contrary to their beliefs, right? So let me ask you a question. If a woman wears a snapback, wears a polo shirt, and some khaki pants, right? Is that a they them? Is that a non-binary key or whatever pronoun you want to call them or whatever? Are they that, bro? Are they considered that now because they wear a snapback, Blues Clues green and green, Blues Clues green and white shirt and some khaki pants with makeup on? Does that mean that they are a trans? Or they're like going through a phase of transgenderism or whatever? I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. Are they part of the LGBTQ community now? Or are they just like wearing boy attire? Is there a difference, or is that transphobia? Man, you people are crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
To think that their non-feminine interests mean that something is wrong with them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The death of the tomboy. But before you once again board my hell gondola, and together we take yet another journey down into the depths of weirdness and depravity, let's hear from today's sponsor, Established Titles. Up in the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s, then you can probably remember women and girls in TV, film, and entertainment who didn't fit the girly girl mold. These girls typically were rough and tumble. They rejected stereotypical femininity in favor of sports cars, baggy clothes, rock and roll music, or whiny music. I see you, Everly.
And this was the trend. Like, people used to actually like this back then. People used to actually like girls that were like, into like boy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that was like mainly dominated by boys and stuff like that. People used to like that. People used to like girls playing sports, playing basketball, football or whatever, playing, sports and playing video games, mostly video games. Guys love girls that play video games all the time, especially now with the e-girls. Anytime a guy goes in a COD lobby and they hear a girl, they probably have the hot dog out, probably. Yeah, bro, this used to be a thing. People used to actually like this, and I was a part of that group. I used to like tomboys. I used to like, girls that used to like, like boy things. It was cool. It was fire. Now it's just like, wow. Like, now it's just like, wow. The society is just like, if they're doing that, something is wrong with them, or they're transgender, and they have they them pronouns, or they have Zyke pronouns. Okay.
I see you. I'm not ashamed to admit, I really liked Avril Lavigne. I'm not sorry about it. She may have been an inspiration for a period of time where I looked like this. And of course there were equivalents on the male side, the frat boy and the jock versus the nerd and the bookworm. But the tomboy wasn't necessarily portrayed as a bad thing. Actually, most of the time, these girls and women were kind of bad. Movies like It Takes Two and The Parent Trap actually put these kind of girls side by side. Both films were centered around twin sisters, one being portrayed as the perfect proper princess, while the other was the spunky, sporty tomboy. But even before that, people were exposed to tomboys in classic literature, such as Jo in Little Women, Laura in Little House on the Prairie, and Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, tomboys existing in media might not seem all that important, especially given the fact that it was something of a cliche in 90s films in particular, especially teen girl dramas. But it actually represented something kind of great. Options. Options for girls. Be how you want. You want to wear dresses or a skirt? Go right ahead. Have at it. You want to have the pink Hello Kitty backpack and buy lip smackers and show all your friends your super cool armbands? I actually don't remember if lip smackers were an Australian or American thing or both, so I'm just gonna show you a photo and you're just gonna pretend that you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Okay. But if the pink and the sparkles and the Hello Kitty stuff wasn't your thing, well, that was also perfectly fine as well. You know, you can put on your baggy pants and wear your etnies or your DC shoes and skateboard and eat the burgers and smash some beer with the boys. You could be any mix of the two. You could be one or the other, or you could be neither and settle somewhere perfectly in the middle ground as a neutral something or other. The point is, women and girls had the option.
Ray, this is 1987. Did you know that a girl can be whatever she wants to be?
I know, my mom's a plumber.
It seems like today, despite wokeness and so-called progressive liberal feminism, women and girls have fewer options than ever when it comes to being who they are and who they want to be. Of course, the hyper-feminine option still exists, although that's still the basis by which it seems plenty of people decide they must be transgender. They like nail polish, long hair, makeup, and so on, as if any of these things are actually what defines womanhood. Fun fact, they're not. And although being stereotypically feminine is all over the place, from entertainment to social media to magazines to other kinds of media, there doesn't seem to be too many other options for how to exist as a female. And like I've already mentioned, if you do something besides the hyper-feminine—
Hey man, I don't find no problem with tomboys, bro. No issue at all. I think it becomes an issue when you try to act like a man, you try to do a whole bunch of stuff as a man should do. But I think if you stay to your feminine roots, there should be absolutely no problem. Like, for example, the e-girls, if they weren't freaking weirdos, that would be like a good tomboy. You know what I mean? They are the Generation Z tomboys. It's just that they're freaking weird, bro. And they're always like showing provocative. Like, they're always doing provocative stuff and probably have OnlyFans. Like, that's the only problem I have. You know what I mean? That's the only issue I have, bro. And also, if they look too much like a man, that's a problem. I think if they look too much like a man, that's a problem. Like I said, stick to their feminine roots, not an issue for me.
are considered gender non-conforming, non-binary, or some version of transgender. Because apparently you can only look one specific way as a female. Something I actually find genuinely hilarious for no good reason other than the fact that it's just funny to me, is that all of these women who identify as something other than a woman all look like this.
I teach in an elementary school.
Anyway, the trouble is, if a woman or a girl isn't the girliest of girls, then the question becomes, are you really a boy? And if so, then something should probably be done about that. Although it's challenging to pinpoint when precisely it happened, the concept of the tomboy and the usage of it has become more or less obsolete. Actually, if I'm being dramatic, I'd say the death of the tomboy is a
I need to see this
casualty.
definition.
Actually,
What does this
if
mean?
I'm being dramatic, I'd say the death of
What is this? Non-binary. Relating to or being a person who identifies with or expresses a gender identity that is neither entirely male nor entirely female. So what are you? Are you in between? You're in between genders? What's going on? What does that mean? Do you just have one mango right here and another is just gone? Like, do you just have like a split in between an egg and a sperm? Like, what's going on? How do you just all of a sudden just not identify with a male or female? What's going on? You just, how does that work? I don't understand. That doesn't make no sense to me. Somebody will have to literally sit me in a box and explain that to me in depth for hours, because that doesn't make no sense to me. Do you have a split of an egg and a sperm? Is your thing cut off and this down is cut off? Is your Johnson cut off in half? And you have a paradise downstairs too? Like, what's going on? What is going on, bro? I don't understand. That doesn't make no sense to me. Whatever, bro.
the tomboy is a casualty of modern gender ideology. The concept of gender fluid and then transgenderism took precedence over
Like, what is that? What is going on? What does that mean? Gender fluid? Gender with juice? Water? Kool-Aid? What does that mean, bro? Like, why are these terms? Why is this popular? Why? Why? What is going on, bro? Like, what is going on? Can I identify as a Fortnite game? Like, what is going on, bro? Yo, what is going on? Can I just identify as just like a crocodile or something? A shark and just bite things for no reason? Like, what is going on, bro? What is going on, man? What is actually going on? Like, I'm so confused. What is going on, bro?
women's perception of her own masculine behaviors. In 2017, an article titled "My Daughter Isn't Transgender, She's a Tomboy" was published by the New York Times. Of course, it was met with backlash. People accused the writer of suppressing her child's gender identity. The author explained how her daughter is often asked by doctors, teachers, and people who have known her for many years if she feels like or wants to be called a boy, simply because she doesn't fit the stereotypical mold of the girly girl. The mother writes that when people continue to—
Wait, hold on. Wait. Yo, these people are so hypocritical, man. So you mean to tell me that these people that the first to label someone as transphobic or whatever, they're the same people that say that, oh, you're not a girl if you do this or whatever. It's a gender festival. Like, gender doesn't define you or whatever, right? But if a person doesn't stick to their stereotypical gender norm thing, right? And they're like, for example, a tomboy or whatever, and they don't stick to, like, I guess, their girl feminine roots. That's a problem. But aren't you guys against, like, stereotypical roles, like, for women and men? Aren't y'all against that? What is going on? Oh my goodness, bro. Like, the brainwashing is crazy. Like, it's really just insane. How did we get here? How we got here? By Satan, obviously. He runs the world and the Antichrist agenda. But, like, bro, this is crazy. Like, bro, I can't be going insane. This is really. Let me stop pausing the video, bro.
Question her child's gender identity and are skeptical of the child's response. The message they send is that a girl cannot look and act like her and still be a girl. Left alone, would boys really never wear pink? That's rhetorical. Pink was for decades considered a masculine color. Would girls naturally reject Matchbox cars? Of course not. But if they show preferences for these things, we label them. Somehow, as we have broadened our awareness of and support for gender nonconformity, we've narrowed what we think a boy and a girl can look like and do. You needn't look too far to find plenty other examples of this across the internet. Parents asking if their daughter is in fact a boy because she happens to like non-stereotypical girly things.
Transitioned at
a boy because she happens to like
transitioned at 6 years old.
stereotypical girly things. Doctors and teachers helping children determine that they're in the wrong body based on their superficial interests.
Someone started saying, "I'm a boy." And at the time, we just thought it was cute. It was a phase. I thought maybe I would have a tomboy.
It was around 3 that we started to hear it, but around 4 years old was when it got very strong.
I'm sure what a lot of people can't believe about your story is that at 3 years old, a little girl can say, "I'm a little boy."
This is 8-year-old Ryland today.
Over the fence.
After much research, counseling, and soul searching, Jeff and Hillary say they came to the inescapable conclusion that Ryland's gender identity did not match the sex on her birth certificate. So at age 5, Ryland began living as a boy.
Ryland remembers how he refused to wear clothes made for girls.
It was a little way of showing my mom and dad that I was a boy.
Okay, but seriously, this feels like a fever dream. Obviously, this side of the issue is very odd and concerning, but what I find especially weird is when people take literary or fictional female characters and insist because they're non-traditional in the way that they do things, they must be transgender or something other than a woman. Actually, this is pretty common with historical figures too, Joan of Arc being the most recent example. I actually saw an article recently that suggested Jo from Little Women is both trans and queer. For those who aren't familiar, Jo is a character who views herself as an equal to her male counterparts during a time when society probably did not. She's outspoken and unapologetic about not being interested in female stereotypes. This, like I said, according to activists and left-wing journalists, makes her queer or trans. Ugh. This myopic understanding of what makes a male and female is such a driving force behind modern gender ideology and hilariously reinforces the very ideas progressives are trying to dismantle. Modern gender activists have blockaded roads women and girls used to take to self-acceptance. Now they prefer to use labels like gender nonconformity. And when they say gender nonconformity, what they really mean is someone who either isn't blue all the time or pink all the time. In other words, an individual with a personality. It seems like today, personality and gender are interchangeable, with more young people, especially girls, believing their lack of interest in looking or acting like Kim Kardashian means they're some special other thing. This way of thinking is being reinforced all over the place. Now, the insistence that rejecting stereotypes associated with your sex means that you're in fact the opposite sex or no sex is finally being addressed by some governments around the world, because there are inevitable issues that arise from telling children, especially, that they're in the wrong body. The Department for Education and Skills in the UK instructed teachers not to tell girls who act tomboyish that their gender is male. The guideline states that children should not be led to believe that their preferences mean that their personalities or bodies are wrong.
Finally,
which feels insane because, like, most of us know this by default, but
like, why is isn't this just common sense? Like, if a girl just prefers boy things, sports, all this other stuff, whatever, she likes wearing boy clothes or whatever, but she still has her feminine roots, she still likes, she still likes looking nice like a girl, and she likes feminine roots, she likes getting her nails done, she's just like a few boy things, you know what I mean? Why, if that's the case, why are people trying to push down the little girl's throat or people's throat that they're trans, or that, oh, they probably was in a wrong body? Why are we doing that? Why don't we make that person make that decision for themselves? Let them go through that phase. Maybe it might stay that way. Maybe, whatever. Gaslighting and the guilt tripping into saying, oh, you could, oh, you're probably a trans. You probably were born in the wrong body. Stop it. Stop.
modern gender ideology and its fanatics don't seem to agree. What's funny is that the efforts of these people to broaden the definition of gender and fight stereotypes has actually just done the opposite. They've trapped people in stereotypes and forced children into bodies that are not theirs. And they completely killed off the concept that women don't need to be girly girls in the process.
You now have to get a micro fringe and pierce your septum and make TikToks. Join us. Am I TikToking correctly? Am I doing it right?
Any girl that watches my video, and if you like me somehow, some way, shape, or form, note this. If you have this, please don't talk to me, bro. If you have this nose piercing in your nose, please don't talk to me, bro. I promise you, this will kill the whole vibe of me having a liking for you. I don't care about your hair color. I don't care about, even if it's clown hair colors. I will not care. But once you have this rhino thing in your nose, bro, please don't talk to me, bro. Please do not talk to me, bro. I won't discriminate you. I'll still treat you like a normal person. I'll still give you Christ's love. But when it comes to relationships, absolutely not, bro. I will discriminate you in every way possible. I won't discriminate your personality and you as a person, but with this thing you have in your nose, this circle rhino type beats in your nose, absolutely not. We are not talking. We are not getting even to the talk relationship close stage though, bro. Absolutely not. No, sir, bro. No, sir, bro. Next thing you know, you're gonna have horns in your head. I'm good. I'm good. And I'm be riding you. I'm good.
Right. My nose ring fell out. But this isn't just about women being forced into potentially transgenderism because they don't fit female stereotypes. This also has to do with the creation of new gender labels and trendy gendered stuff that didn't exist in the past because there wasn't any need for it. Simply because you didn't like stereotypical female
How can you be
things.
called a they them? You are one person. Isn't they plural? How are you two people? You're one person. Unless you fusion somehow and Dragon Ball Z exists for some reason. I don't know how. How are you they them? How? So please don't use she or her pronouns for me. That's discrimination now? Like you can really get like canceled and like literally probably even incarcerated for that or go have jail time or something. Or charged for that. Like this is actually a thing, bro. Yo, oh my goodness, this is crazy, bro. Wow. Wow.
Didn't make you a brand
Wow.
new gender, it just made you a female with your own interests.
Like my birth parents said that I was a girl, but they made a mistake.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah.
Right? So your mommy and I, we assumed that you were a girl. But then when did you set us straight?
Well, I was at least like 5 or 6.
But it started before that. You kept sending us signals, right? You'd say, sometimes I want to be a boy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to be a girl. Something just doesn't seem right here.
Well, I wasn't a girl or a boy.
Ah, so what are you?
Non-binary.
Right. And how do you feel about being non-binary?
Good.
Your mom and I have tried our best to support you and make that like something that's celebrated in our household. Have you ever spoken to your class about your gender?
Yeah.
What did you tell them?
I told them my pronouns and also my name.
I also want to make
Give a kid talk about their Oh, Jesus, please have mercy.
But I wasn't really sure where it fit in this video, so I'm just gonna add it here. I know that there is a cohort of women and girls who do not identify as women and want to distance themselves from their sex because of things in their past like trauma or abuse or some sort of sexual abuse, or even just feeling extremely uncomfortable with their female form and their female bodies. They're not really who I'm talking about in this video, but I just wanted to make mention of the fact that they are some of the people who fall into this category, but they are not the primary focus of what I am saying here. They are basically their own issue unto themselves. People seem to forget that the term tomboy was really just a catch-all for women and girls who just liked kind of atypical things. And while I've talked about this quite a lot in other videos about this topic, I think it bears repeating that many of the core tenets associated with being a tomboy or tomboyism are now diagnosable markers of gender dysphoria in girls, and basically the indication that, well, maybe you're in the wrong body. Funnily enough, our friend John Money,
oh man,
he really pops up a lot, this guy, who I've also mentioned previously, and one of the founding fathers of gender ideology, claimed that assertive play and boyish behavior in girls was a sign of a fetal abnormality. Yes, you heard that correct. In his book, Men and Women, Boys and Girls, Money claimed that the most likely hypothesis to explain the various features of tomboyism in fetally masculinized genetic females is that their tomboyism is a sequel to a masculinized effect on the fetal brain. Now, obviously, gender ideology is not new, and John Money's book is from 1972. Times have changed. But this ideology still exists and continues to morph and adapt as time wears on,
Venom and Carnage,
permeating major institutions and turning into something that has infected countless areas of life. The most ironic thing here is that progressives think that their ideas are in fact progressive, but the reality is that they haven't changed their conceptualization of this issue since the 60s and 70s. Progressives not actually being progressive? Crazy. I wonder if they know that. Probably not. For example, Money's claim that assertive or boyish traits in a girl were a sign that she was actually a boy has become so mainstreamed that it is platformed by lifestyle outlets. In September 2021, a mother wrote to Insider that her biologically female child came out to her at 2 years old. The mother writes that when she tried to enforce a girl bob on her 3-year-old female child, the child emphatically said no, she wanted a haircut similar to her older male cousin. I pressed on with the bub style, almost pushing to the point of tears, the mother says. Then I decided to follow my gut and give my child what I knew was needed. Pictures of little boy haircuts. Yes, that one. The joy and validation were evident on his face.
So we just not parenting. We're just not parenting no more. The children is in charge of the parents now. We have toddlers being in charge of the parents now. This is our generation. Let me say that again. We have toddlers being in charge of the parents now. Say that one more time, just in case your ears are messed up. We have toddlers being in charge of the parents now. Jesus is coming back.
So your kid wanted a short haircut, and now she'll be medicalized for the rest of her life. What is happening? Now, if all of this was a matter of identification, of some brand new spanking word coming in to replace tomboy that still refers to a boyish girl, that would be one thing. But that's not what's happening here. This new conceptualization of gender that we have comes with some pretty negative consequences that the word tomboy did not have. The last number of years has shown us a tremendous increase in children seeking transition services all around the world. In 2018, there was a 4,000% increase in girls doing so in the UK, and similar numbers have come out in the United States. There are a multitude of reasons for this, but I believe one of them is because as our society has apparently opened up, our definitions of what makes a girl has become a lot narrower. Things that made you a tomboy 20 years ago now mean that you're in the wrong body and your non-conformity must be medicalized. It might sound extreme, but it seems that modern gender activists are actually forcing women and girls to choose between two equally crappy paths. Either be a pink dress-wearing bimbo, or disassociate yourself from womanhood, inject yourself with experimental hormones, and cut your breasts off. It's one thing to not want to be a girly girl. It's another thing to medicalize and turn a tomboy into a lifelong big pharma customer. Those of us who grew up in the 90s and early 2000s had ways of expressing ourselves and the things that we liked, our hobbies, interests, clothing choices, without it meaning something more. Better yet, there were people we could actually emulate, women who didn't fit stereotypes who were still comfortably female. Today, celebrities who fall outside the so-called binary style themselves as non-binary or transgender, and very few of them express their femaleness in a way that sits outside the stereotypical norm. The result is that girls have nobody to look up to, and we're more boxed in than ever before. In the end, some could argue that the death of the tomboy has not been a net positive for society, and if anything, our new definitions and comprehension of this issue has just gotten a lot narrower for girls, which in turn does not assist us in any way, shape, or form. Tomboy, in days gone by, was just a word used to describe women and girls who were a little bit atypical, who maybe didn't fit the girly girl mold, and that was okay. And let's not forget that we had a lot more options. Options that simply, at least in my opinion, just don't exist today. Now, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out established titles using the link in the description.
Bro, dude, you can't be if you're a girl and you like boy things, you can't be a tomboy. You're gonna have to get medical surgery. You're probably in the wrong body. And every time you look in the mirror, you're a boy and you need a transition. That's the case. That's what you gotta do. No tomboys exist anymore. The modern day tomboy is the OnlyFans girl on Twitch. That's a tomboy now. That is a tomboy now. And she's probably an SJW too. A social justice warrior. On Super Saiyan crack. The love of this world has gone cold. It really has. Parenting is not even parenting anymore. I know so much people my age range and younger that have terrible parenting. Like the parenting is really just so bad, bro. It is so it is so terrible that I cannot imagine how some of these kids are gonna grow up in 10 to 20 years, bro. I think that's why it's called Gen Z. Because Z is the last last letter of the alphabet. And technically, this is like, you could say the last day. It is the last days. We're in the end times. So this is it. This is it, bro. This is really. This is why I make content, bro. Because I want people to wake up. This is craziness now. This is really just craziness. And saying stuff like this now is labeled as transphobic, bigots, coon, all this other stuff. And it's really just like, bro, just really think about what is going on right now. I'm gonna end off this video, bro. If you haven't already, give your life to Jesus Christ, because he's the most important thing in your life, right? You saw this video. He's the most, he is the solution to all this foolishness and all this crazy stuff that's going on right now. This is really just insane now, bro. Give your life to Jesus Christ, please, because this is like, and if you don't know how to do that, the video on how to get saved is in the description. The love of this world has gone very cold. Love does not exist anymore. We as Christians are the light of the world. The world is in utterly darkness. There is absolutely no light anywhere. We are the lamps in this world. There is no hope in this world. Absolutely none. The only hope we have is in Christ Jesus. If you guys are new, make sure you guys subscribe, like the video. Give your life to Jesus Christ if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys soon.